Welcome to the Coast Podcast. I'm Emilie, a virtual assistant agency owner who left Amazon in 2019 to build my dream.
And I'm Whitney, a freelance writer and communications consultant who never felt at home in a cube farm.
We didn't see many people paving their own ways like we decided to, so we created this podcast to talk to others who were brave enough to pick a different path. Creatives, entrepreneurs, people doing their careers and their lives their way.
Join us as we learn from them, get inspired, and show you beautiful paths less traveled.
Not every road leads to the coast, but the ones that do come with a great view. Welcome to the Coast Podcast, and thanks for listening. My name's Emilie Given, and I own a virtual assistant agency outside of Seattle.
And I'm Whitney Popa. I own a communications consultancy right outside of Seattle in beautiful Edmonds, Washington. And that means that I write a lot of things for my clients on social media, on their blogs, and help them spread their message to the world. And this is a podcast all about creating your dream career, your dream life. And we talk to people who are really taking control of what they want their life and their jobs to look like. So this week we interviewed Marissa Pedersen from Postcards to Seattle, another Edmondsite. I don't know what we call ourselves here. But I actually didn't know that she lived in Edmonds until I was reaching out to her for some stuff that I had going on with my clients, and I wanted her to maybe come out and visit one of my clients. And she said that she also lives in Edmonds. So we met up for coffee like 2 years ago and have been buddies ever since. She comes to the co-working space that I manage in Edmonds and does a lot of her blog work here. She has really, really deep experience in SEO, which is something that I don't even completely understand, and has catapulted her career in a really important and meaningful way. So we dig into that with her a little bit. I kind of go into asking her questions about how she feels about the travel bloggers, which she's a travel blogger, if I didn't mention that. Tagging all of their photos, tag responsibly, keep Washington beautiful, or wherever they're traveling at that time, and how some of them seem to be fighting about gatekeeping on social media. And we have a really cool and interesting conversation all about how she got to where she is and why her career didn't even start anywhere near what she's doing now. And as we speak, she's probably about to have her second baby. So this is a great time for her to kick back and listen to herself just be fabulous.
This interview seriously blew my mind. I knew that bloggers existed, but really allowing her to really elaborate on what exactly she does for her job was just so mind-blowing to me. And it just really solidified the amazement that I have that we can create and do really whatever we're passionate about, and we can make a job out of it and monetize it. And it's just so amazing to me how she did that. So you're really going to enjoy this episode.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, Marissa, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, what is Postcards to Seattle?
Postcards to Seattle is a travel blog I started about 6 years ago. I was going to Europe for the first time on my honeymoon. And so I thought it would be fun to kind of document where I'd been. We went to 7 different countries. So I had a lot of family and friends asking in the month that we were gone, show me pictures of where you've been, tell us how it's like. And I was like, I'll just start a blog for fun. So it was like a hobby, like a lot of people started. And then when I got back, I just continued traveling around the US a lot more, and started to think about how to make it a business and started working with tourism boards and promoting different destinations. Um, so now it's a full-time business, which is really exciting.
That is really exciting. Did you always want to be a blogger?
No, my background is in exercise science. So I went to Western Washington University for that degree. I've always been really into fitness and all that. I was a personal trainer right after college, and then that was hard to have a steady income. So then I went back to school for physical therapy assistant and got licensed in that through the state of Washington. And I enjoyed that, but the place I was working didn't have a lot of hours with the clients we had. So I was able to travel more and do kind of like long weekend trips. And I just started thinking, how can I work online, keep traveling? Because I really, really enjoyed this. I didn't travel a ton when I was younger. So I started working as a virtual assistant for other bloggers online and just helping them with basic tasks. Eventually was able to save up enough where I felt confident to quit, and then quit my office job, started working online.
That's amazing. So I don't know if you know this. I actually own a virtual assistant agency, so I'm all about the virtual assistant profession. That's awesome that's how you built this. Um, you had said a while ago you focused on how to make your blog a business. Can you explain to the audience kind of how a blog can become a business? Because I think a lot of people, myself included, like read a blog for the content, but what goes into that? How is that monetized for you?
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of misconception about blogs, so they're just a hobby. But there's a lot of ways to monetize it. Affiliate links is a really popular one. So I can write an article on maybe travel gear,
Mhm.
and my audience can read it, and I will link to Amazon or wherever I have certain affiliate links. So if someone buys, say, like a suitcase I recommend, I will get a commission of that sale. So
Okay.
the more people on your website, the more people that might potentially click
Mhm.
and increase your affiliate income. You can do that. I mean, almost every company now has an affiliate program, like Viator Tours, hotels. Hotels is a big source of income for me,
Oh,
recommending different hotels that I've stayed at. And then when people click and purchase a couple nights there, then I get a commission off that.
oh, that's cool. I
Um,
had no idea you could do that.
Is
yeah,
that through the
yeah.
hotel or is it through like booking.com, the affiliate partner?
It usually it's through like a bigger one like booking.com, hotels.com. Um, yeah, usually they don't, the individual hotel doesn't have that unless you work out a certain partnership with them. But
Got
I
it.
mean, there's thousands and thousands of hotels on booking.com, and that's what I always use when I travel.
Cool.
So that's why I try to be authentic on my blog is I recommend the places that I've been to and I truly do recommend for my readers. And I
Right.
think that I've established that trust over the years. And so they trust me. This is a good choice, and they stay at that place. Um, Other sources of income can be ad revenue. So when you get enough traffic on your website, enough people coming each month to your website, there's different ad networks you can go on. So almost every website you see nowadays has little ads throughout their website. So it's the
Hmm.
same thing when people view those ads, with even without clicking, just scrolling through, I get paid a certain amount. And then if they do click that ad, I get paid even more. So that's a really passive way to make income because I basically
That's really
set it
cool.
up and they get money each month from that. You can do paid partnerships too with brands. That's kind of what I started with. Is so for
Mhm.
me, I would negotiate a deal where I would go to a certain destination and work with either a PR company or the tourism board themselves, and I would write a sponsored post on my website about that destination, what there is to do there, include everything that they had me do, and then they pay me for having that content on my website. And you
So
can do
wait,
that
wait,
with
wait. So they would they pay for your vacation too?
yeah, they pay for this kind of, I guess all expenses paid. They
That's
pay for your
amazing.
usually your flight and hotel. That's just a lot of things you have to negotiate, make sure all those details are covered. And then if you can negotiate well, then you can also get paid for additional content on there. And then you can also um, blend that in with your social media. So I can say, okay, this is what I charge for a sponsored blog post, but I'll also
Mhm.
post pictures from when I was visiting, and I'll tag your hotel I stayed at, the restaurant I stayed at. So there's a lot of ways to make it into like a big package deal to get paid.
So you're like a travel influencer.
Yes.
I mean, that's so cool. I had no like I really didn't know that people like it's just so cool because Whitney and I always talk about how everyone has a different path and not everyone stays in corporate, but not everyone wants to build a business, but there's so many different things that you can do and like creating your own thing is so like we just think it's so beautiful and amazing and um yeah, that I just had no idea that was a thing, and that's so cool that that's what you do full time. I love that.
Yeah, it's really built up over the years. I mean, the first few years were just hobby, and I really just traveled for free essentially, but I didn't get paid for anything I did, and that was
Right.
fine with me. But and I was like, well, if I really want to make this a business, I need to have a business plan. So
Mhm.
then I started sitting down and thinking of different ways to make an income. And now this year, just recently, I'm on to trying for products. Like I've never sold my own products before. So I just had a Seattle travel guide ebook come out a month ago. So that's for people who are interested in coming to Seattle and looking for like a local perspective of where to go.
Yeah.
And then I'm also working on a course on SEO right now to show people how I got my traffic to levels where I can have ad revenue and all that. So there's a lot of ways you can go. You just have to brainstorm them.
I that's just blowing my mind still. I love this. Do you get to do you have a family?
Yes. Yeah, I have husbands, three animals, and then a toddler, and I have a baby due next month.
Oh, that's congratulations. Do they travel with you?
Yes. This year has been a little off, of course, with everything
Right.
going on. But my son traveled quite a lot when he was younger. I think he's been to 5 different states and Canada as well. Um, so it's been fun. Like it's been fun to show them where yeah, it's been great to take them and show the family aspect as well. I'm not a family travel blogger per se, but I do now include articles like this hotel was really family friendly. Here are some features you might enjoy or some
Right.
tips because people want to know that. I think sometimes people are hesitant when they have especially young kids because it is
Right.
everything's a little more difficult. It takes a little
Mhm.
more time, but it's definitely doable to still travel as a family. So I want to showcase that.
I mean, anytime I go somewhere, I always Google like blah 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 with kids. So I think that's yeah,
And I
relevant.
sent your posts about like Washington places with kids to
Mhm.
Emily several
Mhm.
months ago. And I was like, she works at the co working space that we both helped to open in Edmonds. And she's local, she's amazing. And something I wanted to bring up was about your SEO and how, even in your press kit, because I've helped you with a few things before, just in reaching out to some of my clients to be like, bring Marissa over here. I was so impressed that your press kit notes where you're ranked for various blog posts. Like, I am the number one blog for X, Y, and Z. And that is so important to send to brands. And I have never, with all of my years working with influencers, never seen anybody include their SEO stats in there. So I'm curious how you obviously started down the SEO path early, but how did you realize like this is going to be a powerful medium for me in growing my blog quickly and authentically? Because to have that many readers and have it be your sole source of income in just a couple of years from traveling is pretty major.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends in the industry. Like I'm pretty good at networking, and so I know a ton of people that I continue to keep in touch with. And so we all, over the years, have been like, "What's working for you?" Pinterest, yes or no. But that's usually pretty variable as far as Pinterest goes.
Right.
So more and more people started talking about SEO, and we're all like, "Oh, that seems like so much work. Like we should do that, but no." But then I started seeing some of my friends having amazing results. So I started looking into it, taking some courses, researching everything, subscribing to newsletters, and then started seeing the results. And then I just started. The reason I included my press kit is because I see the benefit over just putting something on social media for a brand. To me, social media is still great, but it's more like a live thing. Like, here I am live in this destination, and here's a post I did like a couple of days ago. But that goes down the feed, and so people start to forget about that destination or that brand. But if you can rank for the article you did for the destination, that's going to come up over and over and get that brand more results, or that destination more results, like that hotel more bookings, the activities more bookings. So I think it's really important because SEO is here to stay. So I think it's the more long-term approach.
So when you say people can like book more stays at that hotel with your affiliate links, do they have to stay at that specific hotel, like through hotels.com, or is it kind of?
All the programs are a little bit different, but yeah, if I recommend, usually I have a couple hotels, like always the one I stayed at, but then sometimes other options. Because I do know that sometimes I am put up in pretty nice places, and so I want people to be like, oh, I can still visit here and afford it. Right. So say they go to look at that hotel and they don't like that particular hotel, but they book something else on booking.com during that session. I'll still get a commission. It's not as high, but I still get a percentage.
Got it. Okay.
And that's kind of the same with Amazon too. Amazon does pay pretty low compared to other brands, but the good thing about them is you can get commission on literally anything someone buys. So if they go and just click a link, they don't like your product, but they're like, oh, I needed cat food, you'll still get a commission off that.
Nice.
Yeah. And it lists, I think from the cookies, doesn't it last for like 30 days too? So if they're on Amazon after clicking your link within a certain amount of time, then you still get that kickback.
They all have different cookies. That's what you have to look at when you're applying to different programs to see what's the best, like what's the commission rate and what's the cookies. I can't remember what the current Amazon is, but I mean, yeah, things like that are pretty helpful because everyone buys stuff on Amazon. So like I can see sometimes the things people buy, I'm like, that's not at all related to what I recommended, but that's great.
That's funny. Can you see like who buys what?
No, I can't see who buys it, just the product that was bought.
Got it. Probably some weird stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
What does your family think about this? Like your family that you grew up with? You went from physical therapy to being a blogger. Do they understand?
Yeah, they've been pretty supportive. I think naturally they're a little confused what I was doing in the beginning, because even 6 years ago, blogging was somewhat new. Is this way as making income, it was new. And even, like I said, I thought it was a hobby as well when I started. I think they've always been very supportive of me. So I think they're like, well, let's see where this goes. And they knew I was still making an income. Like I was smart. I didn't just quit with no money. I saved up. And then they started seeing that I was making an income. My mom was also my accountant for a long time, so she could see exactly how much I was making. So I think that helped too. Every year she would say, oh, okay, she is getting by.
Yeah.
So yeah, they think it's great. They've been very supportive.
That's awesome. Not all families understand.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Get it. I mean, I actually had more trouble with my friends understanding. Just some of them. They say, oh, it must be great to travel for free, but it's still taking up days of my time. So I still have to get work done. And I have been able to bring a couple of friends on trips with me. And then I think that's when it hits them like, oh, she's not just like hanging out at the bar or on the beach drinking whatever. And like I go home during breaks and then I write things down. I edit my photos at night. Like I'm busy at night editing stuff because I need to publish it the next day while I'm live on that trip. So I think once people start understanding how much work goes into it, they take it a little more seriously.
Yeah. I mean, it's a job, right? It's your job. So you're having to submit your deliverables and stuff, and keep yourself accountable, right? Like you're creating the requirements. It's really cool. I was just going back to what you were saying about the hotels. Like, what is your opinion on Airbnb and things like that? Do you have an opinion?
I don't really like Airbnb lately. Just with this past year, their fees for cleaning are astronomical. They've been almost the price of a night. I've seen fees for like $150 for cleaning fees. So I don't particularly like Airbnb, and they also recently just dropped their affiliate program, which is making a lot of us a lot of money. So we're
Right.
all a little bitter about that, really bitter. But we've moved on. I think vacation rentals in general are a nice place to stay, which is
Mhm.
unfortunate that they just dropped their program. I never really considered them until I had a family, but now that I have a
Right.
toddler running around, having the space, having a kitchen is just really nice. So I do still get a lot of bookings for like VRBO.
Hmm.
So there is still a big interest in vacation rentals. But
They aren't they owned by Hotels.com or they're linked somehow? I
I don't
booked
know. You
through.
could be right.
I just booked a trip to Seabrook. Um, we're actually staying in Pacific Beach because it's freaking Seabrook has a 7 night minimum right now. I think 6 or 7
Wow.
nights. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
what?
yeah, for summer. So we booked a house in Pacific Beach, but I booked it through VRBO, and then but I can see my reservation on Hotels.com. So I'm
Oh, that's
they're
interesting.
somehow linked.
I'm not surprised. I'm always confused what's going on, who's with who.
So, I mean, while we have you, we can obviously look at your blog, but off the top of your head, what are your favorite destinations for like a couple, like a romantic getaway, and then a family getaway, like top choices in Washington, I would say.
um, Romantic, probably anywhere on the coast.
Mm,
Because I'm from Texas originally, like Dallas, so I wasn't really close to the ocean. So I'm just
mm.
obsessed with views of the ocean when I can. So I would say I've been to Long Beach a lot. And there's a hotel right on the water, the Drift Hotel, which is
I love it
beautiful.
there.
I've
Yeah.
I've read
Yeah.
about that, and it might
Pickled
have been on your
fish.
blog.
Because I've
Pickled
stayed there
fish.
multiple times.
Go to that restaurant. All Roz and I went and we did happy hour and then we loved it so much that we stayed while they like changed over to dinner and had a full dinner after having a full happy hour because the food
Okay,
was so good and the
it's
hotel
been on my
itself is
list.
cool.
It's been on my list
Yeah.
forever. I'm gonna write it down in my manifest journal. Like,
Oh, the restaurant is
Do it.
great because yeah, you can get happy hour and look right onto the ocean, and then on the weekends they have live music, so you really don't have to leave the area. You can just stay there if you wanted to.
nice.
And they just added cottages too. So like for families, you could easily like have a baby in one of the rooms, not super ideal, but because it's like more modern, like they redid a motel and then they just added cottages right on the beach next to it, I think.
So pretty. I mean, I like the coast. I've been to, like Westport and going to Seabrook or Pacific Beach and then Ocean Shores, but I've never been to Long Beach. I really want to do that thing where you rent an RV and start at the top and go to Oregon with
Oh yeah.
the kids. Yeah, that just seems really fun or awful. I can't decide which.
Depends on if you bring the kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your top choice for with family?
Um, Family. We've taken more vacations out of state with our son than in state, but I would say, even though it's kind of similar, Ocean Shores, like there are
Okay.
a lot of family friendly things to do there. I was there last summer by myself, but they have the mini golf, like arcades, like ice cream shops. It just seemed really easy to have kids there. Like they can ride their bikes on the beach or on the street, or they can walk around. And there are a lot of vacation rentals there. I noticed a lot of like big homes with families. So I think that would just be so nice to get your whole
Mm-hmm.
family and just stay there for the weekend.
Nice. So, what would you tell somebody who's wanting to start entrepreneurship to go into it? What advice would you give them just starting out?
Um, I mean, don't give up when it gets hard, because it gets hard plenty of times, and sometimes the beginning seems complicated. Um, I mean, in the beginning, I think it took me like 4 hours to write a 500-word blog post or something. But just keep pushing and pushing, especially if you're starting a website or starting a blog. Um, I've seen a lot of hesitation in new bloggers to even publish the first ones. They want it to be perfect, but you have
Mm-hmm.
to get that practice out.
Mm-hmm.
I've since deleted maybe 80 blog posts that I
Oh,
wrote that are just horrible over the years. But
mhm.
they all got me to where I am now because they got me practicing to do what
Right.
to do or what not to do. So just write it, keep writing. And I mean, yeah, I feel like every year there's something that's a challenge. In the beginning, for me, it was starting the blogs, and then it was working with tourism boards and how to approach them. And now this year, like creating products, I thought I would never write an ebook. I was terrified to start in the very beginning, and I did. And I thought I would never ever do a course, and I'm halfway through making it now. So just keep pushing because it's worth it. And even if you fail, you always learn something from it.
I love that. I love that so much.
Something that I've been thinking about a lot lately as I've been listening to friends who are in positions of like wanting their next job, their next move, and I try not to project on them like the life that I want. Like, you know, there is happiness that exists within these like big corporations, especially for the right people. But what I'm hearing from them a lot is that they want the security of that job, most specifically like the benefits. And I've found more security in managing my own business and my own time because no job can come in and lay everybody off that day. You know, like at the end of the day, as much as they say they love you or you're a family or whatever, you are a number and there is a business bottom line. So I'm curious for you, Marissa, if you think at all about like the security aspect of it in good or bad terms. Like I am, for me, just this past year, I've come really into my own of like, I believe my job now is more secure than any corporate job I've ever had because I'm in charge and I believe that I'm able to find that next client if I need to, or that I can generate income through different means than I had previously. So when people come to you and they're afraid for that reason to start, how are you thinking about that even for yourself of like, do you feel secure in this or that you'd ever have to go back and get like a quote unquote real job?
At this point, I don't think I would have to go back. I hope not. I am lucky for the benefits, for the health benefits at least. My husband is able to have me on his insurance, so that's a
Right.
huge saver.
Yeah, same.
But
I
besides
think
that,
we're all in the same boat there.
Yeah.
yeah. So I know that can be a struggle. But besides that, like I've never borrowed money from him starting this. I always like had enough, and I think over the years, as I've gained all these skills, now if for some reason traffic was to crash, everything was to crash, I would think about all the things that I've learned over the years and say, okay, what's next? Because we are setting our own path. And I mean, one thing that's invaluable is the happiness. We're not working for somebody else anymore. I'm not stressed out like checking email to see if I have clients. Like when I was a virtual assistant, and I love it, and I have a virtual assistant now helping me who's great. But still, I had a bunch of clients, and so I would kind of get stressed sometimes, like, oh, are they happy? Are they not? All these people to please, and now it's just me. So
sounds really good.
yeah. But yeah, I know it's scary. It's always scary taking that first leap, but I think if you can start to maybe, like I did, build up on the side, build up some skills that you can use, reach out to people. I mean, there's so many Facebook groups for virtual assistants or any kind of job you want to do, to just get side work and have skills, and then be able to save up money and quit your day job. It can give you a little more confidence.
Absolutely. I always tell my coaching clients, you need to build your confidence before you quit. Like,
Right.
figure it out, learn something, prove to yourself you can get clients, prove to yourself you can make money, and then take the leap.
And I would say even having a business plan, even if it's the very first year and you haven't even quit your job yet, sit down and have an ideal, like, this is what I want to do. This is how much I think I can have, and have projections so you can know if you're on track. Like I do that still 6 years into it every quarter. Like, am I on track for what I thought I was going to be making? How can I improve it if not? I think everyone should do that.
Mm-hmm.
Was your business severely impacted by COVID?
Yes, quite a bit. Right before COVID, I was doing really well with paid travel campaigns, and so that was a bummer to have. I think I had 7 trips canceled within like 2-week period. Yeah, it was, and of course I understand it, but so that was a huge loss of income. And then I lost a lot, or I didn't gain any new brand partnerships like on Instagram because I wasn't really going anywhere or traveling.
Right.
Usually, like that's an advantage you can, if you have a brand partnership, is, oh, here's like new hiking shoes. In my case, I'm going on a hike, I'm going on this trip, I can showcase it. So yeah, there's a lot of lost opportunities there. And then traffic just tanked really bad for everybody. So
Right.
then that leads to like less affiliate sales, less ad revenue. But I always had money saved, so I was just really careful about not spending too much while I waited for it to recover. And I just worked on building up my website and kept publishing new blog posts. That's really all I could do. And now those blog posts are seeing the results of the traffic. Now everyone's searching to go
Right.
anywhere.
I'm sure you're seeing a
So,
huge uptick in traffic. And
yeah.
So what is number one on your list? Like, where are you going next?
To the
I don't
hospital
know.
to have the baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, you're having a baby.
Yeah, probably nowhere this year because yeah, baby's due in the end of July. So that'll be a shift. But um, I'd love to get back to Whistler. We have a family timeshare up in Canada, and so we haven't
Nice.
been able to go, of course, for the past 2 years since the border is closed. So I'd love to take like the boys up there and go to Whistler, and just because it's familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Is Canada open yet?
No.
Not for
Okay.
travel, not to the U.S.
Got it. I didn't think so. Our oldest plays hockey, and he generally has hockey tournaments up there sometimes, and
Oh, okay.
not lately. So where's your next international destination, you think?
I think it'll be Ireland. We had a trip scheduled with my parents last year that we were going to go. My grandfather's from Ireland, so I've been many times. My husband studied abroad there, but I wanted to take my son and then my parents. But of course, that got canceled. So hopefully we can go now with another child, which wasn't the plan, but, and get over to Ireland and show them like where my grandfather's from and just the general country.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
I really want to go anywhere. I've actually never been outside of the United States. I'm 30 years old. I don't have a passport. I went to Canada. Okay. I went to Canada once for hockey. And we drove up, we live in Linwood, so BC is like super close, like, I don't know, 2 hours. We drove there. We got there. My dog sitter called me and said that the dog wouldn't let her in the house and was like being aggressive. So my husband, we like put Hank to bed after the game. We went back over the border. He dropped me off and then he had to drive all the way back to Canada. So I was there for
Oh no.
3 hours. I had a list of like all these snacks
that's
I
so
wanted.
sad.
And like ketchup chips and coffee cream. like I wanted to eat poutine. I had a list. So I can't I'm excited to start traveling at age 30. Sure. That's fine with kids, like 2 kids, but
Never too late.
yeah,
No.
I just want to explore.
Well, BC is so easy to visit, especially Vancouver. Like you said, it's so close. Like you could do a day trip easily, just like kind of a long day trip.
Yeah.
There's so much to see in the city. I love Vancouver.
Get that Nexus pass or whatever it is, so you don't have to sit in the line for the entire
It's
time.
so helpful.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll do that once Hank starts playing there more often. Yeah. So do you want to go into the rapid fire questions, Whitney?
Sure. Although I do have a few more questions for Marissa.
Oh,
just
okay.
about going back to what Emilie was asking a little bit earlier about like your business taking a hit from COVID. I'm curious if you've now seen like on your Google Analytics dashboard like a big shift in what people are searching for and where you're ranking. Like I know that when Emilie was asking about trips in Washington with the kids, like I was looking up your blog specifically, but then even when I Googled it, you're the first post to come up for me. So are you seeing that like real-time shift on your end too of like, oh wow, this is crazy, like now this is all of a sudden super high and it hadn't been because everybody's ways of traveling are different right now?
Yeah, so there's two parts to that answer, I guess. One is that I used to focus on like anytime travel, like I had like India, Argentina, Cuba, whatever on my website. But with SEO, I've learned that Google likes it better when you focus on certain topics, because you can't be an authority on every single topic. So when I started to delete some of those international posts and just have Pacific Northwest or hiking, I was doing better in rankings. So that started to go up last year, even though people weren't searching for it. But now people are searching, like local getaways are the thing. So like my Washington State traffic is insane. Like almost every post has gone up so much because people just want quick weekend getaways. I don't think they're quite comfortable with going to other states. But day trips, like all my day trip posts and all my hiking posts are huge right now because people want to get out. They're so sick of being at home. So I've seen a huge shift in people wanting to do day trips and hikes, which makes me excited. But then, yeah, also just Washington vacations.
When you're like managing your time around that, are you looking at that data and saying, okay, let me refresh this blog post to make it a little bit better for like 2021 when I wrote it in 2018 or whatever? Or are you taking that data and writing new blog posts based on it, or both? Like, what does that process look like for you when you're sitting with the data?
I do update every post that's doing well is updated every year. Especially this past year, so many blog posts have had to been updated because I need accurate information for people. Like so many things are closed, that I would normally recommend. Yeah. So I've gone through all my big blog posts and made sure everything is still a current recommendation, like this open, things are accurate. I had a post on like hikes and then breweries to visit afterwards, and I think 10 of the breweries closed permanently. So that have to be redone, like completely.
So
I know.
sad.
I know. I felt so bad for the businesses too, because they're all small, of course. But yeah, so that's really, really important for me on a regular basis to make sure all this information is updated. And I have some seasonal posts like what to do in the spring, what to do in the summer. Those get updated before the season starts to make sure they're accurate, because I would hate for someone to come to my website and say something's inaccurate or they tried to go somewhere and it was closed. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then as far as thinking of other posts, yeah, sometimes I see, okay, this general topic did well, so maybe I'll write something similar. It's hard. You don't want to get two of the same posts because then you will confuse Google. But for example, I've been doing a lot more hiking posts. Like I hike a ton. I didn't write about it. I just more took pictures. But now that I see so many people are searching for the hiking posts I have, I've done a lot more like where to hike in North Cascades or Olympic National Park. So yeah, that does help shape my future post as well.
Okay, so to that end, I have a very controversial question. What is your take on the gatekeeping conversation within your travel blogger community and how they have that geotag of like keep Washington safe, hide your tags, and then all their comments are like you're not in charge of who gets to come here or not, blah blah blah, especially on TikTok, which I think would make for a great blog post, by the way, like the popular TikTok locations, like are they legit? So we can talk commissions about that later, but I'm curious what you think about that and like the tagging of like, I don't know. I find it kind of gatekeepy, but I don't invest much energy in caring about that. I just sometimes see all the comments going back and forth.
Yeah, that's a big topic. It depends to me. The problem is that I think why a lot of reason or a big reason people do this for me, when I'm in normal fitness shape, I go on pretty strenuous hikes. So these are not hikes I would recommend to people who are just looking for a casual day stroll, because I'll get a lot of DMs and like, oh, I want to take my 2 kids under the age of 5 on this like 9-mile hike you did. I'm like, no. So first of all, it's safety. So I will like say I went on a hike in the North Cascades National Park. A lot of those are hard. So I'll tag the park in general because that's big and there's a lot of hikes there. If someone DMs me separately and kind of explains their situation, like they're an avid hiker, they've done this, and then I'll say what trail it is. But yeah, you have to be careful because hiking has increased in popularity in the past year as people are looking for something to do, but you want them to be safe. You can't just have, yeah, so
And
that's
haul
hard.
their
And then
trash
I do,
out.
right. I get it too. There's some of these trails are so small and it's hard for the state to maintain them because there's so many different trails we have. So you don't want to have all these people go just for that one Instagram photo.
And
So
that's,
it's hard.
I was just going to ask about that too. Like there are some travel influencers in the Seattle area who very much, and I think all of us as humans kind of get in that mindset a little bit of like doing it for the gram. And I don't find that you do, but I wonder if you ever debate that with yourself of like, I am almost willing to go out of my comfort zone or hike at night when I wouldn't before just for that sunset photo at the top.
Um, Not just for Instagram, but just because I don't know if I'm calling myself a photographer, but I enjoy photography and I enjoy learning like different settings and all that. I do know that some of those strenuous hikes are getting up really early or staying up late will get the best shots because of the lighting. So just for my personal self, I like to do those hikes. But yeah, but that's another thing. There's amazing Pacific Northwest photographers we have around here, but people don't realize what went into getting that shot. Like they left at 2 a.m. and hiked 5 miles to get there by sunrise. So it's not like anyone can do that. So I completely understand in that case why they're not tagging that location.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much like within your community that is fascinating. It's still like you have such a business mind about it, but like working on the other like brand side for so long, I still feel like 10 years into it, it's a wild west. So I can only imagine like some of the nuances that exist for you too of like brands paying and paying on time, their asks of you, how you even like put together a proposal for them and like what that looks like and how you think about your pricing. It's just ever evolving. So I hope that when people listen to this they understand like what how much business savvy really does go into every single post, every single promoted anything, every single email that you're having with a contact, and how much work you're putting in every day with kind of things that could potentially fragment you too.
Right. And I think going off your pricing, that's a big topic. That's what a lot of people will message me about. Like, what should I charge this brand for whatever campaign I'm doing? But there's no set price for anyone because it's so many variable factors. Like what I would charge 6 years ago was nothing. Like that doesn't build a business. Like doesn't build a sustainable business. And what I would charge even 2 years ago is so different from now because I have learned all these skills. Like you have to give yourself credit for what you do learn over the years and like honing your photography skills, your social media skills, whatever it is. Now I can use my SEO skills when I have sponsored blog posts because that is important for the brand to be found more. So yeah, just always think about all the skills that you are bringing to the table. And then also, how long is it actually taking you? Because in the beginning, when you first get offered, say like $25 to do an Instagram post with a free product, you get so excited, like everyone does, because you think you've made it. But how many hours did it actually take you to do the whole shoot, to think of all the hashtags? They have usually specific deliverables, like things you need to cover when you're talking about it in the post. It could be like 3 or 4 hours. Was that worth $25? So I always kind of divide how much time I think I'll actually spend on the project by what they're offering to pay me.
Right. That's a really good way to break it down.
It's just such a fascinating landscape, and for me, because I nerd out about it all the time, it will never not be fascinating. So capturing some of your time in your brain is like so exciting for me. Like that meme of like the old guy on The Simpsons, like I'm doing my fingers like this, like, oh, this is so great, like tell me everything, Marissa, from the inside. So yeah, we really appreciate your time with this, and we do have some rapid fire questions. Do you want me to read them, Emily?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Emily was just on a really epic podcast that I listened to yesterday called Real Women's Work, right?
Yep.
And if you haven't noticed, I'm a little chatty. So this woman had a really great approach with her rapid fire question. She's like, I'm going to try to not talk. I'm just going to let you answer them because otherwise we'll be here all day. So I'm going to do the same thing. We have 5. The first one is, what is your coffee order?
Oat milk latte.
So good.
Yeah, let me not interrupt. Like me over here being like, I've never had oat milk. Tell me about
Oh my God. You have to. Okay, I
It's
have to.
really
interrupt.
creamy.
It's so good. It's so creamy and tastes like
Yeah.
an oat milk cookie. It's so good.
Oh, I lied. Actually, we got some from Costco once per somebody's recommendation, and I put it in my frother, and it was not an impressive froth. So I abandoned that.
I love oat milk.
And
yeah,
I
it's a nice addition.
I'm not dairy free, but I'm, dairy free curious in different ways. So I try different iterations of the nut milks and everything. But I haven't gotten there with oat. And I do think for breastfeeding, if you're planning to do that, I didn't even consider that oat milk helps with that, but it's another one that helps with supply.
Good.
So maybe I'm not going to be that woman. What is your first happy memory?
Just ever?
Yeah, isn't that a hard one?
I guess just being from Texas, just playing in the water all the time. Like everyone had a pool, or you always at the water park. Yeah, just always playing with a bunch of friends in the water.
I love that.
Like I've always loved the outdoors, even though it's very hot there. But I think that helps shape kind of the future here. Like I still love the ocean and still love the water.
That leads into our next question. What would you wear every day? Like, what would be your uniform if you could choose it?
If it was acceptable everywhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I like leggings, not in like a lazy aspect, but just because they are so the right pair, so comfortable. So you could go from having coffee with a friend to going hiking, to going to dinner, and still feel comfortable. I know it's been like a long time since a lot of us have worn jeans. They're just like, I have not found the right pair, I think. So I think leggings and like a nice, comfortable, loose tank top.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because that's my wardrobe lately too.
I'm like a big bike short person. Like when it goes away, it will never go away for me. And I'm seeing people wear blazers with bike shorts. I'm not there yet. Yeah.
Wow.
But they make it work. And
okay, you should try it.
You should try it.
I will absolutely not try it, but I will wear bike shorts every day of my life if I can.
I don't own a pair. Should I buy a pair?
I have like half a dozen. Yes, you should.
Okay.
Buy them from Bar 3 Edmonds.
Okay.
They have the cutest stuff there.
Yeah. This episode brought to you by Bar 3 Edmonds and my love for Bar 3 Edmonds. What is the best business purchase you've made under $100 in the past 6 months?
That's a hard one. $100. Oh.
And you can break the rule too. You can, if it's more than that, but it's just amazing. We want to know.
This might be not answering quite your question, but the biggest help in the past like 6 months is hiring help, like hiring, outsourcing things, because I put that off for 5 years. And so finally realizing that I needed to invest in outsourcing in a virtual assistant is beyond beneficial, because now I can focus on the tasks that make me money. So it's a little more than $100, but that's been the biggest game changer. I think I kind of already have all the equipment that I need besides that, but having someone that I can assign like medial tasks to are really nice.
This is great.
I know. I was like, this is music in Emily's ears. She did not pay you to say that. You are not using a member of her team.
You need a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, you do.
I just outsourced a little too to a former coworker who is essentially a virtual assistant for me now, and everything, it just pays for itself, and you end up making more money on the things that you're good at in the long run.
Yeah, I'm in a mastermind group with other women that we started at the beginning of this year. And that's been the biggest hesitation I've seen on their side. Like, oh, I wish I could afford to hire someone, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't have the money. I'm not big enough yet. But once you finally hire somebody and you see all the things that you can give them that are not making you money, but you still need to be done. Like, I'm just able to have my income soar so much more because I'm focusing on those tasks that only I can do. So I just wish I started earlier.
To help people understand Emilie's business and the virtual assistant world a little bit better, what's an example of some of the menial tasks that you outsource to your assistant?
She goes through and she deletes some like old blog posts. Like I was saying, there's some posts that aren't maybe don't do well or just not relevant to what I write about anymore. So she'll go through and like delete those for me and save them in documents. She'll upload new blog posts that I write, upload photos. Like I'm doing the work, of course, of taking the photos and writing the post. But I don't. But that's, I mean, it takes time because she is great and she kind of sends me a record of what she does every month, of how long this took her, and I'm like, see, like I didn't need to do that. Like that took up time, but that's not making me money. I was having someone help with Pinterest for a while too. There's stuff like that. Like it's good to have, but I hate Pinterest, so I don't want to do it. But that's helpful because it's another source of traffic.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that's like, oh, this is on my list and it's just always on my list and I'm never going to get to it. And then when I do, it's not going to be the optimized way I want it to be. Like putting that one pin up there and leaving it versus having a little Pinterest strategy that takes someone else maybe an hour a day that you don't have. Like that's
Right.
just a really cool use of her time as well.
Yeah, I
And
think if you're hesitating to hire somebody, just what I did before I hired her was I made a list of all the tasks that I hate doing and that I don't necessarily need to be the person to do. And it started getting longer and longer and longer. It was like, okay, now I think I can justify somebody for like 10 hours a month to help out with these. And so then I hired her based on a recommendation of someone that had worked with her. And so that helped a lot. Because in the beginning, I was like, I don't know what I would give to somebody else. But you have to just let go and say, yeah, maybe I need to spend a little bit of time training somebody, but after that, it's automatic.
yeah. Do you have anything to add for from your perspective, Emilie, of like to me that like Marissa sounds like a dream client. Like she already knows what she needs help with and
Right. I just what she did before. Like make a list of tasks you hate doing or else you don't have time to do, right? That frees up your time and then really that's what you want to outsource. Anything that doesn't light you up, anything that, that is, on your, like you said, on your to-do list forever and it's not just needs to be done, like, or things like you need to do on a repeating basis, but forget to do sometimes, or there's a lot that basically anything you don't like doing, like, and that people don't realize too, like that includes personal stuff sometimes too. Like we have clients who are like, can you find a dog groomer? And we're like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, like that's not what we normally do. We do a lot of executive assistant work, but yeah, the amount of things that a VA can do, especially like if you find somebody a VA can edit your podcast, a VA can write your blogs, just depending on who you hire and what kind of skill set they have, like really it's never it's limitless. So
and I feel like so many women in our like age and stage are at that point in their if they're similar and they have their own business or they've been freelancing for a while, they're like, when I know for me, like when's the right time to hire that outside help and how can I like what would I even give this person and how do I justify the spend, and also thinking about like your mindset around money and giving it away to give it back to get it back in an even bigger way. Like I held so tightly to my money when I first started my business, and letting go of some of that grip has been like it's
freeing.
And it's multiplied my income by huge amounts because I'm like, take this away. I don't want it taking my time, my energy, space in the universe to not bring me the clients that, are aligned with me. So I I commend you on that, and I think it's an amazing business investment. Our last question is, what's lighting you up lately?
Seeing just summer in general coming. First of all, like my traffic soaring, which is great. So seeing the excitement in other people being excited to travel. Um, and then, yeah, it's just the weather. It's just nice, especially living in Edmonds, walking onto the water, seeing the ocean every day. Um, this is just a good time of year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, especially with a new baby too. It's good to have something to look forward to when you know you're going to be up all night. And I speak for myself only.
Yeah, well, my last one was born in winter, and so that was a very dreary time in my life.
Yeah.
So this, at least I can be outside. That'll be nice.
For sure. What else do you want anybody to know about you, your blog, where to find you? What do you want to plug?
Yeah, again, my blog is just Postcards to Seattle. Same on Instagram, same handle. So if you're looking for any Pacific Northwest travel ideas, especially Washington, I have a ton, dozens of Washington State ideas. I've read about like getaways. I write about hiking. I do like road trips. That's been really popular lately too. People wanting to go on road trips. So if you have, you're looking for ideas for road trips, I have that. And they write on national parks too. So I'm really into visiting those. And then my SEO course will come out in a few weeks. So that'll be on my website as well. So it's for, I would say, beginner to intermediate, as far as your experience with SEO, but I cannot recommend getting your blog in SEO like ASAP.
Absolutely. And so many people are not thinking about that at all. So
Right.
your course is going to be super valuable for them.
Yeah, it's never too soon to start. Like the sooner the better, actually.
Awesome. This has been so helpful and cool and so nice to like speak with other women who are doing what we're doing and learn
I love
about
that
your
we're
path.
doing this podcast. I love it.
It's kind of becoming this like, tell me how you got here to this thing that people think is weird. At least like at my family Christmases. Like your family didn't think it was weird, but my family is like, what are you going to do with that English degree?
Yeah.
So thank you for your time and for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being a guest, Marissa. And it was really nice to meet you. I hope we can meet in person sometime soon.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.
This episode's music was provided by Sloan Best.
And editing provided by Kayla Shute.